Before the Meiji Restoration, Japan was an isolationist and rejected repeated attempts by the West to open up trade. It was controlled by the shogun, who was a military dictator. During this time, they refused to industrialize and remained fiercely traditional. Though after the Meiji Revolution, the shogun lost his power and Japan began to open up and let the West in. The samurai during this time still had a lot of power, and the shogun effectively ruled the nation. The Japanese Empire officially started with the Meiji Restoration. The Meiji Restoration brought the emperor back to power and instituted a large amount of political and social changes. It opened Japan up to foreign influence and led to Japan rapidly industrializing. The samurai, who had used to be the equivalent to knights or lords, lost their power as Western ideas began to take root in the government. Many students would go and study abroad in Europe and then bring back things like European clothes. Because in order to keep their industry, they needed raw materials not found in their island, they began to invade other regions in Asia. The first Sino-Japanese War was fought between Ming China and the Japanese Empire from 1894 to 1895, primarily over control of Korea. Japan's industrialized technology and weapons allowed them to win and gain control over Taiwan and Korea. The next war they fought was in 1904 against the Russian Empire, and again because of their industrialization they won, gaining control over Manchuria. These wars caused other nations like Britain to see Japan as more of an equal than other nations like China, allowing them to sign many equal deals.
Hayashi Tadasu was made resident minister of the court of the Qing dynasty first, then he was the resident minister to Russia in St. Petersburg, and lastly, he was the resident minister to Britain. On January 30th, 1942, he worked with Britain to create the Anglo-Japanese alliance and signed it on behalf of Japan's government.
The Hammond Wing Japanese Empire exhibit features lovely items from the times of the early Edo period to Japan's time of industrialization. One of our many features is this Katana Stand, forged just a few years before the samurai were abolished in 1867. This piece itself has never seen battle. The katana was a single-edged sword with a curved blade and a handle built for two hands, but were light enough to wield two of the swords at one time. Several samurai even had their katanas forged with inscriptions on the sides, usually translating into honorable or motivational statements about its wielder. Some even had pictures of fearsome creatures such as dragons or jaguars. Japanese mythology has influenced most of the world in one way or another, even if small. The Japanese version of demons are called Oni. Oni were troll-like creatures with several horns and large fangs. People donned the faces of these creatures to frighten off any that could be roaming the country through masks. Our exhibit features one of these such masks. Primarily made from ceramics, Oni masks were worn during the festivals to protect and ward off evil spirits. Oni demons were commonly known to bring disasters to humans, from famine to war. More recently, some Oni have been thought to protect people rather than cause chaos and destruction. Men in Oni costumes lead parades to ward away bad luck. One of our most beautiful pieces is a replica of one of the Imperial Regalia, the Yada no Kagami. The Yada no Kagami is a sacred mirror forged by the deity Ishikura Dome. Yada no Kagami translates to the 8-hand mirror, and it typically represents wisdom and honesty. The original Yada no Kagami's place of holding had burned down. A replica is on display in the Imperial House of Japan, while the Mai Prefecture claims to have it in a shrine, but closed for public view, so this claim is not completely reliable. Whether the mirror was burned in its original place or is fine today has yet to be made known. Our exhibit does have a convincing replica, though few really know what it looks like.
Here are the continuities of the Japanese Empire. The first one, emperors made a comeback, but they became national figures and didn't really have a lot of power. They didn't have any political power, and the decisions they make have to be approved by the cabinet. The emperor is basically a symbol of Japan. Another thing that didn't really change was the social status of women. They were still expected to stay in the house, and if they did get a job in a factory, they weren't treated equally. In factories, they were mostly women working in poor conditions, still getting paid less than men. Here are the changes that were made during the Japanese Empire. The first one. After Japan industrialized, the government became more centralized and bureaucratic. They were the first Asian country to have a parliament. Later down the line, the parliament became more powerful than the emperor. Another change was made by Matthew Perry. He changed Japan forever by opening up Japan from a period of isolation caused by Christian missionaries. Opening its ports caused it to be exposed to foreign countries. This led to the industrialization of Japan and Japan's dominance over its neighbors.